to listen and to implement, as well as to be the neutral voice. Because ultimately, it seems that a lot of people have been in the GFA for a long time, so there perhaps needs to be a mixture of the old and the new. Because I could be considered the mediator, someone that everybody could come to in order to voice their concerns, their views, and I would make an informed decision. So that's what I bring in particular.
The vision is to have a Ghana Football Association which is globally recognized, respected, and competitive. So simple. Globally, I'm not limiting our vision to Ghana or to WAFU or to CAF or whatever it is. I'm talking about globally competitive football association. With its products being of the highest stock of marketability, what are the products? Our national teams, our domestic football, our players, even our administrators, our technical staff. It's quite gratifying to know that as we sit here now, we have a number of Ghanaian coaches coaching different clubs outside, including in Europe. This is something we should be proud of, and we must make that a regular feature of Ghana football.
First thing I'm going to do is to reconcile the football people. I see a lot of divisiveness. And until you bring the football people together, you cannot build a solid team to help you realize your vision. So the first 2 weeks is going to be a reconciliatory period. I've seen a lot of dirty politics going on. I think it should be a contest of ideas. So when I win, the first thing I'm going to do is to create a reconciliatory committee to bring all the football people together so that from there we can form an all-inclusive team to develop our game.
Establishing and nurturing a football fraternity and industry devoid of corruption and corrupt practices on and off the field of play. Recognizing the important contribution of stakeholders outside of the football fraternity, as well as seek to cooperate and work with them for the betterment of the game. Ensuring that all grounds provided the safety and security required to make everyone welcome on match days to enjoy the game to the fullest. Ladies and gentlemen, we want our football stadium.
Now, we do know yesterday there was a debate on this very subject, and of course it's on Friday that we're going to have the election. We're told per what the list is, the delegates number about 120. And I'm told, especially by my friends, a sports journalist, and I have a sports administrator, sports journalist also in the studio who also help us do some analysis on the subject, that it looks like 120 in number is just a number or a population for each of these candidates to reach. But what a better way for us to transition into the discussions. I have Jerome Otchere. He's a sports journalist, has been a public relation consultant, and also is a sports administrator. And it's good that we have him right here in the studio. Helps us with analysis on the channel as well. Jerome, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm always following your posts. Once in a while we tend to meet.
Yes.
And well, let's start off from the debate yesterday evening. What were your own assessments with how at least we know not all of them, at least those who took part in that debate?
I think to a large extent it was good. Good in the sense that previously we wouldn't have even had the chance of having candidates contest. It was one person dictating the pace all throughout. So this time having 5, 6, even 7, because one was disqualified, having that number of people entering the race and telling us what they want to do to change the face of our football, for me was very important. And it is true, some have said that, I mean, what is a debate? The people who are going to vote are just a small number, 120. Why would you put the candidates on one platform and let them speak to the whole country or even the whole world, when indeed those who will be deciding who should be the FA president are only 120? I mean, that argument for me is flawed. Flawed in the sense that, yes, 120 people will vote, but then whoever wins is going to manage the country's football. And football is not watched by 120 people. It's watched by the entire country. If the Black Stars is playing today, you have the whole nation and even people living outside Ghana following them. So if we were going to have 6 or 5 candidates at one single event, telling the whole world what they want to do to change the face of Ghana football. I think it was very important, and I'm happy to say that yesterday we had a good show. I mean, not all the candidates performed to my expectation, but the mere fact that they were present, they spoke about their manifestos, very relevant questions were asked, and some good answers were given. For me, it's an important path to take. And
of course, George Free didn't take part because he said he had some conflicting schedules outside the country. But ultimately, having 5 of them take part in this debate also gives a certain, perhaps, insight into what their mindset is.
Yes.
Now, we've come to a point where we're thinking this is the best point and the best panacea to resolving, following the ANAS investigation, all the troubles that our football has entered. We've had some reforms, regulations have been in place, and the way the structure is now, who will have the best plan? Who so far to you has exhibited by way of the utterances what the outline is to have the best plan going forward for our football?
Well, George was not present yesterday, and in as much as I want to accept why he was not there, I think he didn't do us a lot of good, because for me, if we are talking about the front runners, he's one of them. In fact, if I'm pushed to the wall to pick the top 2, among which one will win, I'll pick George and Kurt. And the fact that he wasn't there for me was disappointing. But with George out, I mean, not being there yesterday, if I'm restricting myself to the things that the 5 said yesterday, Amanda clearly did not understand the issues at stake. I like the fact that we had an intelligent woman entering the race, showing some effort. I mean, telling us that, look, it's a men's game, sort of, but then women are also part of the game. And I think that if I'm given the chance, this is what I can do. But looking at how she answered most of the questions, I don't think that she has what it takes to lead Ghana football. Maybe she can come some other time, or maybe she can serve in different roles rather than leading the FA. George Ankuma Mensah also showed, I mean, very brilliant stuff. In fact, there were 2 issues that he raised that I think whoever wins, if he is winning, I would love to see how he implements it. But if he's not winning, whoever wins should take those issues up. And he mentioned violence in our game, and the fact that people go to the various stadia or stadiums to do whatever they want. In fact, to the extent of even harming people. Before the number 12 video came, a game between Mediama and Elmina Sharks ended abruptly because the referee was injured with a stone. And up till now, we can't even tell who threw the stone. And George was saying that those things should not happen. Because if you're on the street and you hit someone to the extent of, I mean, injuring him, if it gets to the police, the law will deal with you. How does it happen that within our football setup, those things happen and nothing is done? So he was saying that we would have to, no matter the amount of money we want to put in our game, if we can't check violence, then we are finished. Again, he mentioned age cheating, which for me is a big issue. Look, our players are not performing well, not necessarily because they lack the quality, but a lot of them are overaged. I mean, we pick 20, 25 old, footballers and classify them as under 17. By the time they are truly 20 years, they'll be 30 years. So these are some of the issues I think.
We'll talk, and as Henry Asantichum joins us, we'll also look concretely at what the problems are. Yeah. Because once you have undertaken research, the methodology you use is also important. But what you also found out was critical, because any research is supposed to be a problem-solving one. Sure. Well, when I did the monitoring, this is how I thought the candidates performed in that order. And I will start with what I put on my phone, my notes yesterday. I rated George Ankuma as having done creditably, so I'll put him a 1, and Nanayo Amponsa in that order. Then I had Kurt Okrik, who is my favorite candidate in there. I'm not a sports person, so at least it relieves me, and I'm sure Henry Asantichum and Jerome will fight over whoever. No, and then I bring Fred Papo. Fred Papo is my next candidate after Kurt Okrik, and then of course the last will be Amanda Clinton. I don't know why George Free decided not to participate, but I thought that, well, because he was part of the old order, and if you take a look at what the negatives have been, the connotations have been of the Nyantichi-led administration, I thought he was still carrying a certain baggage. So at least coming in and making his argument was important. But we'll go for some excerpts from yesterday's debate. When we come back, Henry Asantichum will be joining us. He's an experienced sports journalist, football person, has worked in administration just like Jerome as well. We're going to look at what problems are there for one out of these 6 individuals who want to win the candidacy or the presidency of the GFA to solve. Stay with us.
How can the future if we are not grooming football, from those from 11, 12 upwards, etc. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that cult is dead. It's just not as vibrant as it used to be. And we know that because of some of the, like the McDan competition, tournament competition that recently happened this year and different things. People are reviving it, but we need to do more in terms of the National Juvenile Committee, for instance. In its current form, it doesn't.
I believe TV rights and all manner of sponsorship cannot be attracted when we have serious integrity and credibility issues. We're talking about individual or personal credibility or integrity. We are talking about corporate credibility. These are all things that we rank or score very low as an association. So definitely for me, the first point of intervention, which is going to attract my energies and my concentration, will be to go to the very core of the issues which are denting our credibility and our integrity as an association. We would have to look at issues.
Anybody who is found to have match fixed will either lose his position. If he is a club owner, he will lose the chance for his team to even play in the third league. Now, if the sanctions are strict, now we will begin to see compliance from people who have a stake in football, who would not go about fixing matches. I think that the present position is too lax, where we treat criminal offenses within football circles as just, misdemeanors, and then we allow them to go on. We have seen several people in football who have done things which are akin to criminal conduct, and yet we have treated them as if they are just misdemeanors.
First of all, I've spoken about the FIFA Forward program that guarantees a minimum $6 million to the FA if we behave well. Here we are talking about embracing all good governance principles. I have spoken about our central fund. I have spoken about the fact that we would ensure that we have an efficient secretariat, a fully functional marketing department, for which reason the product offering called football will be improved. It will be attractive because of our repositioning strategy, for which reason the known revenue streams, including sponsorship, merchandising, player trading, will be enhanced, for which reason, of course, we'll make a lot more money.
There is a reason why the tomatoes at Mokola sells less than that of ShopRite. It's an issue of packaging. I am going to enroll our leagues on internationally acclaimed video analytical platforms and statistical platforms where player fees can be backed by facts and figures. I'm also going to ensure that there is proper packaging of our players. There's proper marketing of our players. I'm going to ensure that there are seminars like Y Scout, Insta Scout, where we invite sports business people to come in so that the clubs can interact directly with them. Thank God last November, I managed to send about 10.
Well, one thing did run through all these expositions by these prospective presidents, so to speak, of the GFA. And that was that there's a problem with Ghana football, and that problem needs to be solved. Henry Asantichum has joined us. He's an experienced administrator, journalist, a great contributor to football in our country. And good to have you, sir.
Pleasure is mine.
Yeah, man.
Roland.
But look, let me start with you on the subject of what is the problem these gentlemen need to solve when they come into office.
Wow. I think first of all you need to identify what the problems are. And Jerome and myself, we sit on radio, we speak to issues on television, just as we are doing now. And there are teething problems, affecting our football over the period. We have issues about poor pitches. We have issues about branding. We have problems as regards marketing. We have human personnel problems. Engineers Association or rub shoulders with other facets of the economy. It is because we have limited ourselves to going out there, play on a pitch, 3 points, we are back home, and then the next week we go back to play, 3 points, we are back home, time to take the Black Stars to go and play an international friendly. And that has been our style over the period. But I think that we have gotten to a point where we need to change our mentality and take this as a serious business. What can we do in the area of merchandising? What can we do in the area of marketing? What can we do in the area of player management, in the area of infrastructure? Because elsewhere, in England, for instance, that St. George's that sits there, they make huge sums of money from that training facility every year. Clairefontaine in France, they make millions of euros every year because teams go there to camp prior to tournaments. Now, St. George's, for instance, the Brazilian national team, when they have a tournament, sometimes they go there to camp. So we sit in Ghana and we do not have even proper accommodation for our Black Stars. Proper training facility for our Black Stars. During the era of Avram Grant, we were using private training pitches for the Black Stars. And I think time has come for us to move away from such practice. The monies that come into the game, what do we use it for? Does it go into proper investments? I think the answer is no. So yes, the industry is bedeviled with a lot of problems, teething problems, and we need to tackle them one after the other going forward.
So infrastructure is important, and then the talents, how you unearth them, become the fruits that will generate revenue for you. And then alongside we have the value chain. Okay, so that I can play a role, somebody also developing talent can play a role, somebody in administration can play a role, and that becomes their business. Okay, how do we need the state to support, or the structure of the state to support?
I mean, there's no way you can take the state out of the whole show, especially in Africa here. I mean, elsewhere in Europe, you really may not need government support to do certain things. But in our situation where the FA itself doesn't have the funds to get certain things done, you would definitely have to go to government or go to the state. The problem, however, has been the relationship between the FA and the government. I mean, we also, number 12, we saw what happened. There was a clear conflict between what football people wanted and what government also wanted to do from the beginning until somewhere in August, I mean, August last year, where there was some sort of a truce, and then we had the NC. So I think it's about how the FA will seek to manage its relationship with government. Because, look, the Black Stars, there was a time that there was an argument over who owns the Black Stars. Completely needless. Because the Black Stars plays in the name of Ghana. They use our national colors. The national anthem of the country is played. So how do you turn around to say the Black Stars belongs to the FA? There was a clear problem with even how we understood how the Black Stars operate. So I'm looking forward to the situation where whoever will win, I mean the new administration, will seek to identify what roles government can play and how to get government support without any disaffection. Because, look,
Very important.
in all the World Cup years, you could tell that big money is coming from FIFA. And that money, government would want to know where it is going, what are you going to use it for? It tells you that the FA cannot just do anything and have its way.
Especially within Africa.
Exactly.
Because I mean, just to buttress Jerome's point, FIFA recognizes the role of government in third world countries. They don't care what happens in Germany, England, Finland, what have you. But even in Finland, state-owned stadia mostly are used by the clubs. That is what the clubs use. That is what the national team. In Italy, the government owns virtually all the stadia, and the municipality. You go everywhere, and the municipality owns the stadia. So yes, that is something we need to find solution to. It is not important. There is no need for government and the FA to have that disaffection, to have that friction. Yeah. It is needless.
Recently, Henry, Andrew Dedeayu, in marking a decade of them winning that under-20 tournament,
in
for
Egypt.
which no other African team has won in that category. Okay. Said we were in some level of disintegration. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing, so to speak. At the end of the day, we also do know that playing a critical role would be the people around whoever has been elected. Based on the changes we've seen in the regulations, the statutes, etc., post-Friday, how is a newly elected president and the structure of the FA going to work?
Well, I mean, in the past we had the president and executive committee, out of which an emergency committee is formed. The emergency committee take critical decisions because they were meeting from time to time, unlike the executive committee that must wait until, you know, a major issue happens. Then they sit on various issues and speak to them and take critical decisions. This time it's not going to be like that. This time we have the president. We're going to have the president who sits at the top, and then there will be executive council of which, you know, members have been elected from the various stakeholders. So there is that player representation, there is women's football representation, Division 1, 2 members from the Regional Football Association, so they represent the interest of the RFAs, or the regions, for that matter, the districts and the constituencies, and then also Premier League will have reps on the Executive Council. Now, whatever the vision of the president is, he needs to discuss with the Executive Council and must make sure he's able to convince the Executive Council. So all the manifestos we have seen circulating is not casting. When you win power, you need to work in tandem with the new Executive Council.
And does it mean that the president, based on how the FA is going to work, is having his cabinet as the Executive Council?
Yeah, absolutely. So they will.
That's
it's
a
like,
hard one.
Yes, it is.
In some way.
So you need to be you need to be skillful in massaging egos.
This structure that Henry has just enumerated, how does it create a certain finesse for accountability? Comparable or incomparable to what existed?
Look, it's. I think this is the best. The best in the sense that even if is it 15 people? 15 people that will be elected, even if half of them will not support the president's idea, it will be up to the president to engage them and let them understand why I think this is the way to go. And my interest here is about the quality of people going into that contest. I've seen some of the names and I've heard some of them speak. Clearly, you see that these are some of the people we need in the game. So at the end of the day,
you mean those who are part of the cabinet, so to speak?
Yes,
the incoming cabinet.
Yes. So at the end of the day,
you also get elected.
Yep. Yeah. That election will be held on Thursday.
Yeah. Okay. At the end of the day, the president is not going to have his way. Even if he will have his way, he would have to seriously engage his cabinet, I mean, his executive council, and get them to understand his vision and where he wants to take our football.
Okay, there's one thing though, and we only have 2 minutes for us to wrap up. Now, at the end of the day, we have a structure that is a bit informal, not like you have in England or the South Africa or Egypt or the Northern African countries. How have we been able to mirror the undeveloped structure with what we hope we envision? how we think it should be the best?
Whoever wins the race on Friday has a lot to do. It's not going to be easy because we all know there are problems. That person must be frank and objective and speak truth to power and
courageous,
and be courageous and say we have problems. Now that person needs the support of all of us to get that fixed. We need our football back, first of all. Domestic football must be strong again. Secondly, the way our national teams are going, it is disheartening to see our home-based Black Stars, go through that challenge that on 3 consecutive occasions we can't play at a CHAN tournament. Our under-20 have struggled. It took us 5 years to qualify for another tournament after 2009. The Black Meteors have not been to the Olympic Games since 2004. Now, look at the Black Queens. We haven't played at the World Cup since 2003 or so. And I'm saying these are major challenges. The pitches are still poor. Women's football is not the best. Juvenile football must be upgraded. So all these put together, I think we have a huge problem at hand.
Who are you tipping to win?
I work for a candidate, so obviously.
Keto Creek.
Yes, of course.
Between Ket and George.
Okay,
one of them. Yeah.
You're not conflicted in any way?
No, well.
Okay. Jerome Otchere is a football consultant, administrator, is a sports journalist as well, football journalist, has a lot of eyes in Kotoko, and you just have to monitor his... Jerome Otchere on Facebook, you can always get most of his posts as well. And Henry Asantichu, we all do know him. And just mid-year, traveled to France to go and watch a PSG game as well. I was following him closely on that. But yeah, all along. Recently just returned from Senegal and as well. Well, thank you, the two of you. I've enjoyed the conversation. But I know that this is just going to be a continuous one till after the contest in itself. But please make sure that throughout the interaction, you're always with us. Facebook, JoyNews on TV. We have a Twitter handle as well. We have 0540 10 900 9, and it's a WhatsApp number. Please make sure that you interact with us.